My daughter spent 3 weeks organizing her cousin's birthday party, and I paid $2,300 for it. Then we found out she wasn't even invited because she's in a wheelchair, so we didn't go, just sent this gift. When they opened it, half the guests left because the invitation never came. Not a glitch, not a delay, not lost in spam. Everyone else got theirs. The big animated email with dancing animals and jungle drums, and "You're invited" flashing like it was the Oscars. My son got one. I got one. Even my ex-husband, who hasn't shown up to a family event since 2019, got one. Mia didn't. She checked her inbox like it owed her money. Every hour, before school, after dinner, sitting in the car at Target, she'd glance at her phone, click refresh, wait, nothing. And every time she smiled a little smaller. At first, I thought maybe my sister just forgot to include her address. I mean, that's believable, right? She's scatterbrained. 3 kids, full-time job, chronic main character energy. It happens. So I called just to check. I had the phone on speaker. Mia was in the kitchen with me folding little paper napkins into triangles for the party table. She was so proud of her work. Said she wanted the party to look fancy but chill. My sister picked up right away. "Hey," I said, casual, like this wasn't going to be the moment that broke something in both of us. "I think Mia's invite didn't come through." Silence then. "Yeah." So Tyler asked if she could, not come. I thought I misheard her. "I'm sorry." "What?" He wants it to be fun, light. And with the chair and everything, it might be a bit much. A bit much. I didn't say a word. I just looked at Mia. She was still folding napkins, but her hands had stopped moving. Her eyes didn't lift. She just stared at the table like she was trying not to exist. I hung up. I didn't trust myself to keep my voice steady. We sat there in silence for a while. Just the sound of the dishwasher humming and one of those awful jungle-themed party songs playing from the Bluetooth speaker. Then Mia said, without looking up, "He doesn't want me there." Not a question, just a fact. My chest burned, but I stayed calm. Because I've learned that when you're a mom and your kid is hurting, the last thing they need is to watch you fall apart. I took a breath. "He's an idiot," I said. "You made half this party happen." She nodded, swallowed, still didn't look at me. "I thought maybe they forgot," she whispered. "I didn't think they'd, actually leave me out." I didn't know what to say to that. Not without swearing, so I said nothing. A few minutes later, she got up and rolled herself to her room without a word. Closed the door softly behind her. That softness, that's the part that killed me. I stayed in the kitchen and stared at the napkins she left behind. Perfect little folded triangles lined up in rows like tiny white flags. Surrender. Later that night, I opened my laptop and pulled up the spreadsheet, the one where I tracked all the stuff I paid for to help out. My sister had called me generous, said she didn't know how she'd pull it off without me. $800 for the venue deposit, $300 for the magician, $450 for themed decorations and centerpieces, $200 for catering extras, $550 for party favors, balloon delivery, and printed signs. $2,300 total. And that doesn't even include the late-night runs to pick up supplies or the hours Mia spent designing the welcome board on Canva. I stared at the numbers and thought, they didn't just exclude her. They let her build the party and then locked her out. And I let them. I sat with that for a while. Let the guilt sink its teeth in. Thought I was helping. I thought being the yes person was the right thing to do, but all I'd done was fund the party that hurt my kid. And that's when I decided. We weren't going. Not one of us. Not Mia. Not her brother. Not me. But we were still sending something. The next morning, I told Mia at breakfast, "We're not going," I said. She didn't look surprised, just nodded, eyes on her cereal. "But," I added, "we're sending a gift." "What kind of gift?" She looked up. I shrugged. "One they won't forget." She raised an eyebrow. "Like a flaming bag of dog poop?" I snorted. "Tempting, but no." She paused. "Will I get in trouble for it?" "Definitely not." "Will they hopefully?" She gave me a small, real smile for the first time since that phone call. "I'm in," she said. And just like that, the fog lifted a little. We didn't say anything else. We just started planning. I didn't need revenge. I needed the truth to walk into that party wrapped in a bow and sit itself down next to the cake. They wanted her quiet. We were going to make some noise. By the time I finished packing the gift, I wasn't just mad about the party. It's never just the one thing. It's the weight of every little thing that came before it. All the moments you swallowed. All the times you let it slide because it's family. The unspoken rule that you're not allowed to call it what it is. But now, I was done pretending. I didn't always know my place in the family, but my sister did. She figured it out early. How to cry just enough to stay innocent, how to break things and get thanked for the lesson. I was the kid with Band-Aids in my backpack and a schedule in her hand. I got praised for being so mature, which really meant you're low maintenance and useful. By the time we were teenagers, I was helping with school runs and last-minute birthday gifts for her friends. She forgot people's birthdays. I remembered them for her. My mom said I was naturally giving. I wasn't. I was just conditioned to keep everyone from falling apart. And when things did fall apart, I cleaned up the mess. That's how I got the role. The fixer, the helper, the wallet. It's a funny thing being the responsible one. You think it comes with respect. What it really comes with is expectations and silence. Because once you're seen as the strong one, no one checks if you're okay. They just hand you more weight. I remember the day my sister found out she was pregnant with Tyler. She showed up at my apartment crying, mascara down her face, no plan, no job, no clue. I held her for an hour, made her tea, and told her it would be okay. Then I let her move in rent-free. She stayed for 8 months, bought nothing, cooked nothing. But the second she moved out and her boyfriend got his act together, she suddenly had a whole new set of boundaries. "We need space now. You understand, right?" I did. Of course I did. Because that's the job. Fast forward 12 years and here we are. My kid gets uninvited from the party she helped plan. And my sister doesn't even blink. Just tosses it out like it's a detail, like the chair is a logistical issue instead of an actual person. But what gutted me most wasn't what she said. It was how familiar it felt. Because Mia has been getting cropped out of this family since the day she started needing a ramp. The first time it happened, it was subtle. Christmas photo a few years back. Everyone smiling in front of the tree. Mia's chair didn't fit the shot, so they zoomed in on the top half. It looked fine unless you knew what was missing. I didn't say anything. It was one photo. I told myself it didn't matter. Then came the birthday party with the outdoor-only venue, which turned out to be grass and gravel. Mia couldn't get 10 feet without her wheels sinking. My sister told me, "We didn't think of that part." "Sorry." Said it like she forgot the weather forecast, not her niece. I still didn't call it out because calling it out would have meant admitting it was intentional. And if you admit that your family is okay hurting your kid, you can't unknow that. But I know it now, and I'm not going to be the quiet one anymore. After I told Mia we were skipping the party, things felt lighter. Not easy, just less heavy. She didn't ask what the gift was. I think she wanted it to be a surprise. Or maybe she just wanted to feel like she could trust me to handle it. Her brother, meanwhile, was furious in the way only little brothers can be. "They're all garbage people," he muttered at dinner. "I hope the cake falls over." I didn't correct him. He wasn't wrong. "I hope the magician quits in the middle of a trick and tells everyone Santa's fake." Too far, Mia said, finally smiling a little. It was a small moment, but it was something. That night, I pulled up the invite again. I stared at the RSVP list. Everyone else was going to be there. Aunts, cousins, family friends, people who'd known Mia since she was born. Not one of them had said a thing. Not one of them asked why she didn't get an invite. They knew and they stayed quiet. That was the other thing that hit me hard. The exclusion wasn't just from one kid. It was a group decision. Spoken or not, it was agreed upon. And it hurt more than I expected because I realized we were alone in this. Not just me and Mia, but all the people who've ever been quietly erased. Left off the list, pushed to the edge of the room so they don't ruin the vibe. This wasn't just a party. This was a line and we were drawing it ourselves. The next morning, I emailed the magician and the candy cart vendor. I'd paid for them directly, of course I had. I told them there had been a venue change, asked if they could redirect to a different address. Both said yes. I sent a follow-up to the balloon delivery team and the guy who was setting up the photo booth. Then I called a few people, parents who I did trust. Not a lot, just the ones who had shown up before, who'd asked how Mia was doing, not just to be polite, but because they cared. I told them the truth. Some of them cried. Some asked what they could bring. We had a new party by lunchtime. Same day, different address, same decorations, because I'd paid for those too. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something that didn't taste like guilt or survival. I felt like I was doing the right thing, not just as a mom, as a person. Because this wasn't about being petty. It was about protecting my kid from thinking she deserved less and showing her through action that she's not going to be the forgotten one. Not on my watch. The box looked expensive, wrapped in white paper with a deep green ribbon, jungle-themed of course, sitting front and center near the cake table like it had VIP status. It had a tag on the front, handwritten in gold ink. To Tyler, from Mia. My sister must have seen it when she was arranging the other gifts. I'm sure she was confused, maybe a little smug. I imagine she thought it was some kind of peace offering, that even after everything, Mia still wanted to give her cousin a present. Of course she thought that. People like her always assume kindness is submission, but the thing about quiet girls is they grow teeth. We weren't at the party, obviously. We were across town in our backyard, balloons tied to the fence, music playing, chairs set up on the lawn. Mia wore her favorite green dress and a gold headband. Her brother was manning the candy cart. The magician had just finished his first trick. We had lemonade in mason jars, kids running around, actual laughter. I kept checking my phone. I wasn't sure when it would happen, but I knew it would. I just didn't expect it to be so fast. At the real party, the one I paid for, the gift table was packed. But the box from Mia was different, bigger, shinier, intentional. At some point, someone must have asked about it. Probably a kid. They always notice the biggest present first. What's this one? Oh, that's from Mia, my sister must have said, probably a bit tight-lipped, probably with a fake smile. Oh, cool. Why isn't she here? Awkward pause. She couldn't make it. Inevitably, someone decided it was time to open the box. Inside, a single tablet, fully charged. Press play. So they did. The video starts with a soft piano melody in the background. Then, a clip of Mia at the kitchen table, carefully assembling the goodie bags. Then her voice, calm and clear. Hi, I'm Mia. I helped make a lot of this party. I picked out the candy. I helped design the signs. I tied the ribbons on every single jar because I wanted everything to look amazing for my cousin. Cut to her holding a jar and smiling. I was really excited to come, but I didn't get invited because I use a wheelchair. Gasps. That's not an exaggeration. I've seen the video now multiple times. You can hear it. A few soft, oh my God, whispers. Someone saying, wait, what? A dad in the background mutters, you've got to be kidding me. But the video keeps going. Mia again, still calm, but a little more serious. I didn't want to make a scene. I just wanted people to know what happened, because if it happened to me, it's probably happened to other kids too. And then the kicker. If you believe every kid deserves to feel welcome, we're having our own party today. There's food and games and music, and everyone's invited, even if you're different. Especially if you're different. The screen fades to black. Then one line appears. Address is on the back of the tag. The silence afterward was heavy, and then it broke. Not into laughter, into movement. First, a couple of parents started whispering. Then one mom said, loud enough to be heard, "Wait, she wasn't invited because of her wheelchair?" Another added, "She helped plan the party." Then a dad, "I thought she was sick or something." This is messed up. And then slowly, one family got up and left. No drama, just packed up and walked out. Then another and another. Kids started asking questions. Why wasn't Mia invited? Did Tyler not like her? Wait, didn't she make the name tags? And then one little girl said loud and clear, "That's mean." I almost felt bad for my sister. Almost. But here's the thing. You don't get to exclude a child and then play victim when the truth shows up in high definition. The best part? The magician never arrived. The candy cart? Not there either, because they were in my backyard with us. We had the magician pulling card tricks for Mia's friends, kids giggling around the snack table, and parents showing up one by one, looking a little dazed, a little angry, but mostly relieved. Relieved that someone finally said it. One mom hugged me and whispered, "I didn't know what happened. I just knew it felt wrong." Another dad dropped off his twins and stayed for the entire event, helped clean up. By 3 p.m., our backyard was full. By 3:30, I got a text from a cousin. Half the party walked out. Your sister's flipping out. The video was brutal. Also, can I get the address? Back at the original party, I heard Tyler locked himself in the bathroom. I don't know if he was embarrassed or just overwhelmed. Maybe both. He's 12. I can't pretend he's innocent, but I won't pretend he's the villain either. He's a kid raised in a house that told him discomfort was more important than compassion. That's not his fault, but it's his choice now. As for my sister, she tried to spin it. She told people I am, her, that Mia was being used for attention, that I made her look bad on purpose. But here's the thing about video evidence. It doesn't really care how you spin it. People saw Mia's hands tying bows, her voice steady, her face quiet and brave. They saw the truth, and they responded. At the end of the night, Mia sat on the porch with her brother eating the last cupcake. She looked tired but happy. She asked, "Do you think they're still mad?" I shrugged. "Probably." She smiled. "Good." And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I had to clean up the mess. I didn't feel like the bad guy for standing up for her. I just felt like a mom who did her damn job. The text messages kept coming all night, some supportive, some not. I ignored most of them, except one from a number I didn't recognize. He said, "She's braver than most adults I know." I showed it to Mia. She nodded and said, "I'm glad we sent the gift." I clinked my juice glass against hers. "Best gift I've ever given," I said. I knew it wouldn't end with the video, not with my sister, not with how she operates. She's not the type to sit quietly when the mirror gets held up to her face, especially when it's playing on a tablet in front of 50 party guests. The morning after, I woke up to over 40 unread messages, group chats, missed calls, a few voicemails that started with, "I just think it's sad that," and ended with me pressing delete. Then came the email. Subject line, "We need to talk about what you did." I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I already knew what it would say. Something about how I attacked the family. ruined Tyler's special day, and made a public spectacle out of a private misunderstanding. Because that's what she does. She spins. She reframes. She makes herself the victim of the mess she caused. But what I didn't expect, what caught me off guard, was the second wave. The lies. She started telling people Mia faked being uninvited, that she was always on the list, that it was just a scheduling mix-up blown out of proportion by my emotional instability, her words. She told extended relatives I manipulated the video, that it wasn't Mia's idea, that I made her say those things to humiliate Tyler. Then she really outdid herself. She told a few mutual friends that Mia was going through a phase and acting out for attention, and that her disability had become a personality. That one nearly sent me through the roof. I thought about calling her, about writing a long response with all the receipts, the text logs, the absence of an invite, the recorded call. But I didn't, because I knew something she didn't. When you lie in a house full of windows, you don't get to scream when the truth comes knocking. And it did. Turns out kids talk. So do parents. One of the moms who'd been at the party posted a long note in a private parenting group on Facebook. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. It was about how we talk to our kids about exclusion, how easy it is to justify cruelty when it's dressed up as the vibe, and how silence makes you complicit. That post got shared a lot. Someone else posted a clip of the video with the caption, "She helped plan the party, then she wasn't invited." That one? The comments were brutal. "She's 12 and handled it better than most adults. I would have burned the whole party down." This is what ableism looks like in real life. Subtle, dismissive, casual, and disgusting. Tell her she's a hero. My sister tried to clap back, made a few vague posts about false narratives and toxic behavior disguised as advocacy. Didn't work. Because the thing about public sympathy is that it only works when people still believe you deserve it. She finally texted me 3 days later, "You went too far. We could have talked, but now it's beyond repair. Hope you're happy." I stared at it for a long time, and then I replied, "You uninvited my daughter from her cousin's birthday because of her wheelchair. You lied about it. Then you tried to make her look like the problem. We're not beyond repair because of what I did. We're beyond repair because I finally stopped pretending you didn't mean it. Walked? Done." I didn't need to hear anything else, and I didn't owe her anything. But she wasn't finished. A few days later, Mia came home from school with a tight face and watery eyes. "Tyler told people I edited the video to make him look bad," she said, dropping her bag, "and that I hacked his mom's email and deleted my invite." She wasn't crying. She was just tired. The kind of tired you feel in your bones when you've been trying too hard for too long. I sat down with her. "Do you believe any of that?" She shook her head. "No, but it still sucks." "It does," I said. "And I'm sorry." She nodded. I thought maybe it would be over." I didn't lie. I didn't say it would be. I just said, "People show you who they are, and now we know." We spent the evening making brownies. I let her pour the batter and lick the spoon, even though she said she was too old for that. She smiled anyway. A week later, her school counselor called me. Apparently, several kids, including some who hadn't been invited to the party either, had started a little club. Nothing official, just a group that eats lunch together and makes sure no one sits alone. They called it Mia's Table. The counselor said she didn't ask for it, but she shows up every day. She's kind. She listens. She's not just included. She's leading. I thanked her and cried in my car for 10 minutes before I could drive home. By the end of the month, things were quiet. My sister stopped posting. Tyler kept his distance at school. My parents called once, left a voicemail that said, "We hate being in the middle. Can't you two just work it out?" I didn't respond, because they weren't in the middle. They were just silent. And silence is a sigh. I quietly pulled back from everything. No more group texts. No more holiday planning. No more helping with just one more thing. I even returned the last invoice for the party to the vendor, marked it canceled by request, and left her to figure out the mess herself. It felt good. Not vengeful. Just clean. Like closing a tab that had been draining my battery for years. One night, Mia and I sat on the porch wrapped in blankets. She looked up and said, "Do you think it was worth it?" I didn't ask what she meant. I knew. I thought for a long time before answering. "Yes," I said. "Because I'm not going to teach you to shrink yourself just so other people stay comfortable." She nodded. "I don't think I'll ever forget it." "You're not supposed to," I said. "But that doesn't mean you carry it forever. Just long enough to know what you'll never tolerate again." She didn't say anything else. We just sat there and let the quiet settle in. That weekend, she got a new party invite from a classmate she barely knew, but who saw the video. The note said, "You were the first person I wanted to invite. You seem like the kind of person who makes things better just by being there." Mia read it twice, then handed it to me like she wasn't sure what to do with it. "Go," I said. She did. And when she came home, she had 2 new friends, a cupcake, and glitter on her shoes. She smiled as she pulled off the paper wristband they gave everyone at the door. It said, "All are welcome." She taped it to her bedroom mirror. Sometimes I still wonder if I went too far. I mean, Tyler's 12. A kid. And yeah, the adults made the real choices, but it was still his birthday. And what happened? It did ruin it. The gift, the video, half the guests leaving. That's what everyone remembers now. Not the cake, not the games, not the jungle balloons I paid for. And part of me thinks, maybe I should have handled it differently. Maybe I should have taken the high road, had a quiet conversation, let it go. But then I think about Mia. How small she looked when she realized she wasn't invited. How hard she tried to smile. How long she worked on those party favors, not knowing they'd never even make it to the table. And I think if I had done nothing, if I had stayed quiet again, what would I be teaching her? That kindness means letting people treat you like you're disposable. That being polite matters more than being seen. That her place at the table is always optional. I couldn't do that. Not to her. So I wonder, did I go too far? I'm really curious. What would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And if this story hit you even a little, go ahead and subscribe. My 8-year-old daughter was left in foster care by my parents while they flew to Hawaii with my sister's kids. The note said, "Sorry, sweetie, we just couldn't take care of her." I didn't shout. I just filed a quiet report. Next morning, there was a violent knock on their hotel door. My name is Hannah. I'm 28, pregnant with my second child, and until last month, I thought I came from a normal family. Not picture perfect, not Hallmark, but normal enough. Close enough that we did holidays together, took each other to the airport, texted each other dumb memes about caffeine and adulting. My sister and I weren't best friends, but we traded birthday gifts and family gossip. My parents were grandparents. They loved their grandkids, my sister's 3 especially. But still, they were always around, always showing up. I never thought I had to worry about them not being safe, until the day I needed them to be. It started with a doctor's appointment I almost rescheduled. I was in my 3rd trimester and feeling off, tightness, dizzy spells, just tired all the time. My OB looked at me, then looked at the monitor, then said, "I don't like this. I want you at the hospital now." I remember laughing. Not because it was funny, because I was scared. Because I had work emails to send. Because I had groceries in the car. Because my husband was deployed overseas and I didn't have time for a crisis. She didn't laugh. "If we don't keep you monitored, you could go into labor early." So they wheeled me into a room and told me not to move, not to stress, not to think about anything except keeping my baby boy safe. Right. Sure. No stress, except for the part where I suddenly needed emergency care for my 8-year-old daughter. Her name is Ellie. She's the kind of kid who cries when books end, who organizes her pencils by color and whispers sorry to bugs she accidentally steps on. She's brave in quiet ways, sensitive in every way, and absolutely not someone I was okay leaving with just anyone. But I didn't have just anyone. I had my parents. They lived 10 minutes away. They were already watching my sister's 3 kids that week. Ellie adored her cousins. She packed her little overnight bag herself, tucked her favorite stuffed cat inside, and made me a get-well-soon card with a sparkly Band-Aid drawn on the front. I called my mom from the hospital bed. She didn't hesitate. Of course we'll take her, honey. You just focus on staying healthy. I cried after I hung up. Relief mostly. Gratitude. I trusted them. Before I was admitted, I swung by their house to drop Ellie off. I handed my mom my credit card. Use this if she needs anything. Groceries, takeout, whatever. She waved it off. Don't be silly. She'll be fine. For the first 2 days, I believed her. Ellie called each night, told me about their pancake breakfast and how Grandpa let them watch a movie before bed. She said she missed me, that she gave my card to the baby so he'd feel better too. I promised I'd be home soon. She believed me. Then came day 3. No call, just a text from my mom. Busy day, she's resting. Day 4, nothing. Day 5, all good, no news. Rest up. No Ellie. I asked to talk to her. No answer. I sent messages. No reply. By day 6, I'd called every number in that house. My mom, my dad, my sister. Left voicemails. Nothing. I told myself they were just busy, that 4 kids were a lot, that she was tired, that I was overreacting. But I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling, wondering if my daughter was asleep, if she was scared, if she was wondering why I hadn't called. Then, on day 7, the doctor smiled and said the words I'd been waiting for. You're stable. You can go home. I didn't go home. I drove straight to my parents' house. The driveway was empty. No minivan. No bikes on the lawn. The porch light was off. The windows dark. I knocked. Waited. Knocked again. Nothing. That's when I saw it. A piece of paper taped to the front door, slightly crumpled, slanted. Ink faded at the edges like it had been there a while. It said, "Sorry, sweetie. Things got too hectic. We made other arrangements. She's fine." No signature. No phone number. No explanation. I stood there, reading that line over and over like it might eventually turn into English. Other arrangements? I called my mom. Straight to voicemail. Dad. Voicemail. My sister. Nothing. I called again. And again. And again. Nothing. I don't remember getting back in the car. Just the sound of my heart in my ears and the word arrangements bouncing around my skull like a pinball. I drove to the nearest CPS office and walked in still wearing hospital socks. I gave them my daughter's name. My name. The woman behind the desk asked me to wait. Then she came back and asked me to come with her. That's when I knew. Ellie had been dropped off 4 days earlier. No emergency contact. No signed form. No explanation. Just left. She was with a foster family now. They said she was safe, that she'd been quiet, polite, a little withdrawn. I nodded like that was supposed to make me feel better. I think I said thank you. When I finally saw her, she ran to me. Her face crumpled. She didn't ask where I'd been. She just kept saying, "I'm sorry. I was good. I tried to be good." That night, she wouldn't let go of my hand. Not when we got in the car. Not when we got home. Not even when she fell asleep curled beside me under the blanket her dad gave her last Christmas. I sat there listening to her breathing, one hand on my belly, one on her back. And I kept thinking, I thought we were a normal family. I thought they loved her. Ellie stayed close those first few days. Too close. She wouldn't let go of me. Not for a second. She followed me to the bathroom, the laundry room, the front porch. She even stood outside the shower, asking every minute, "Are you almost done?" She didn't talk much, just curled up beside me on the couch, clutching her stuffed cat like a shield. I let her. I didn't ask questions she wasn't ready to answer. At night, she woke up crying. Not loud sobs, the quiet kind, the kind that soaks into a pillow. One night I whispered, "What are you thinking about?" She said, "They said I was too much." I said, "Who did?" She didn't answer. I made us pancakes the next morning. She stared at them, then whispered, "Grandma told me not to be fussy." My hands started shaking. I was trying so hard to stay calm, to keep everything gentle and steady, but I was unraveling. Slowly, quietly. I still hadn't heard a word from my parents, or my sister. No check-in, no explanation, no apology. Just that note on the door and a silent phone. On the third day after I brought Ellie home, I cracked. I went digging. It started with my bank app. I hadn't checked it since the hospital. I opened it expecting maybe a grocery charge, some gas, a Target run. What I saw instead were back-to-back charges from a resort, airfare, rental car, 4-night stay, spa service, multiple room service bills, a boat tour, all from Hawaii. I just stared at the screen, scrolling, my thumb frozen. They used my credit card, the one I gave them for Ellie, the one I handed them like an idiot, thinking they'd spend it on juice boxes and peanut butter. I told myself there had to be a mistake. Maybe someone stole it. Maybe it got hacked. Maybe... And that's when I opened Instagram. I don't even know what I was searching for. I clicked on my sister's profile. There it was. A story highlight titled, "Aloha! Palm trees, cocktails." A group shot. My parents, my sister, her husband, all 3 of her kids, smiling in lays with the ocean behind them. Caption, "Family vacation before school starts." Family. Not one word about Ellie. Not one clue she ever existed. They left my daughter in foster care and flew across the ocean with my sister's kids, and then had the audacity to call it a family trip. I felt something snap. Cold. Clean. Like a rope breaking. I called my mom first. No answer. Then my dad. Then my sister. I tried again. And again. Finally, my sister picked up. I didn't even wait for hello. "Where is Mom?" "Oh, she's out by the pool." "Why?" "You left Ellie in foster care and went to Hawaii." Long pause. Then, "We didn't leave her in foster care. We just couldn't take care of her, okay? You were in the hospital. We had this trip planned. It wasn't ideal." I couldn't breathe. "You abandoned her." "She's fine," she snapped. "You're blowing this out of proportion." "Where is my daughter in your photos?" "What?" "In your family vacation post. Where's Ellie?" "She's not my kid, Hannah." I went silent. That hurt more than I expected. She kept going. "You're being dramatic. Mom was overwhelmed. The kids were already packed. What were we supposed to do, cancel the whole thing?" "Yes," I said. "Yes, that's exactly what you were supposed to do." "She's not a baby. She's 8. I hung up. My phone rang less than a minute later. My mom. I picked up. Her voice was chipper. Honey, I was going to call you. When? What? When exactly were you planning to tell me that you left my child in the care of strangers and flew to a luxury resort using my money? She went quiet. Then, we didn't know what else to do. We were overwhelmed. Ellie is not easy. Not easy. My voice cracked. She made you cards. She packed her own bag. She did everything right. She cried all the time. She didn't want to eat. She asked for you nonstop. I couldn't handle it. She's a child, and I was in the hospital. My mom's voice turned cold. Well, maybe don't get pregnant again if you can't handle it. I laughed. I actually laughed. That bitter, breathless kind that comes out when nothing else will. I'm done, I said. Don't be dramatic. Save it. You already made your choice. Hannah. I hung up. Ellie was on the stairs. I hadn't realized she was listening. She looked at me and said, Grandma's mad? I walked to her and knelt down. No, Grandma's not mad. But I am. And that's okay. She looked at me for a long time. Then she asked, Are we going to Hawaii too? I felt my throat tighten. No, I said. We're doing something better. The night I filed the police report, I didn't tell anyone. Not even my husband. It wasn't revenge. It was reflex. They used my credit card to fly to Hawaii while my daughter was in foster care. I didn't scream. I didn't threaten. I just opened my laptop and wrote everything down. Dates, screenshots, charges, the note on my door. I submitted it online and went to bed with my daughter's hand curled around mine. On the next day, things exploded. It started with a voicemail from my sister. No greeting, just, Are you out of your mind? You called the cops on Mom and Dad while they were on vacation? What the hell is wrong with you? Do you have any idea what you've done? They're humiliated. Then came the text from my mom. The police came to our hotel room. Our room, Hannah. We had to explain ourselves like criminals. I hope you're satisfied. I stared at the screen. I imagined the knock on the door, the surprise, the panic, the way they probably looked at each other, still wearing lees, holding cocktails, pretending nothing was wrong. And for once, I didn't feel guilty, not even a little. That night, I opened Instagram and checked my sister's profile. She had deleted the Hawaii highlights, but in their place, she posted a long, blurry paragraph over a black background. Sometimes people will ruin your peace just to punish you for telling them no. Sometimes they'll call the police and weaponize your pain, but the truth always comes out. 38 likes, 2 comments. I took a screenshot and filed it in the folder I was quietly building. They came to my door the next morning. I saw them through the window. My mom, my dad, and my sister, all standing on the porch like some warped family portrait. My mom held a reusable grocery bag. My sister was already fuming. I didn't invite them in. I stepped outside and shut the door behind me. Hannah, my mom said, we need to talk. You had your chance. You humiliated us. I folded my arms. You left Ellie. My sister cut in. We didn't abandon her. We made a decision. It wasn't easy. You went to a beachfront resort, I said flatly. On my dime. You handed my daughter to strangers and then ordered room service. Dad's voice was tight. We thought she'd be fine. She wasn't. She thought she did something wrong. She cried every night, and none of you cared. My mom stepped forward. We care. Of course we care. We just... She's not easy, Hannah. You know that. I froze. What did you say? She's difficult. She gets overwhelmed. She cries over everything. She wasn't adjusting. We thought it would be better for everyone. I laughed. You thought foster care was better. She needed structure. My mom snapped. I took a step closer. She needed love, not a punishment. The door behind me opened. Ellie stood there, hugging her stuffed cat, looking straight at them. My sister smiled like she was on a stage. "Hey, sweetheart." Ellie didn't move, didn't speak. My mom softened her voice. "We brought your things, your book, your brush." Ellie said, "Why didn't you come back?" The silence that followed felt like gravity. My mom blinked. "We thought it was best." Ellie looked at me. "Can they go?" I turned to them. "You heard her." "You're seriously doing this?" my sister said. "You're cutting off your entire family?" "I'm protecting my daughter." "From what, love?" she snapped. "From people who've always been there?" I stared at her. "You weren't there." I opened the door and stepped back inside. Then I shut it. That afternoon, they went nuclear. A check for $1,000 showed up in my mailbox. No note, just the check. Memo line. "For Ellie, with love." I wrote void across the front and taped it to the trash can lid. My mom texted me, "Pregnancy hormones make people irrational. You need to calm down." I blocked her. That night, while Ellie was asleep, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I picked up. "Miss Porter, this is Natalie with Child Protective Services. We received an anonymous report expressing concern about your home environment." My stomach dropped. "They claim you've been emotionally unstable, isolating your daughter, and retaliating against family. They described you as vindictive and erratic." Of course they did. I stayed calm, answered her questions, offered references, medical documents, even Ellie's school counselor's contact. I told the truth. Every word. She said, "Thank you. I'll follow up soon." I sat in silence for a long time after that. Then I opened the folder again. It was getting thicker. More screenshots. More notes. More proof. They thought I would break. But they forgot. This time, I wasn't alone. The next night, I was cleaning up dinner when I heard the front door open. Ellie ran to the hallway. I followed, tired, expecting a draft or the delivery guy. Instead, I saw my husband. He was home. He dropped his duffel bag and caught Ellie as she jumped into his arms. Her whole body relaxed for the first time in weeks. Mine did too. He looked at me and said, "I'm not going back. We'll figure something out." And just like that, I knew. The three of us were going to be okay. But the people outside our door, they had no idea what was coming. For a few days, it was quiet. After the CPS visit, the angry voicemails, and the social media meltdowns, my parents went dark. No calls, no texts, no surprise visits. I started to think maybe they were finally done, but manipulators don't disappear. They wait. They regroup. And then they come back with a smile. It started with an envelope in the mail. No return address, just my name in my mother's handwriting. Inside was a card. "Let's talk. Don't let this tear our family apart." There was a photo tucked in too. Ellie, maybe 4 years old, sitting on my dad's shoulders. I'd taken that picture. It was one of her favorite days, before she knew what betrayal looked like. I threw the card away, kept the photo. Not for them, for her. That night, my sister texted me, "You've made your point. Now undo it. They're breaking." I didn't answer. The next day, my parents sent a flower arrangement to Ellie's school, pink roses, with a note, "From Grandma and Grandpa. We love you and we're sorry." Her teacher called me, concerned. "Should I send them back?" "No," I said. "Just throw them out." That night, Ellie asked me, "Did Grandma bring me those?" I nodded. She said, "Do I have to say thank you?" "No, baby," I said. "Not this time." Then came the neighbors. Mrs. Kaplan from across the street stopped me while I was loading groceries. She gave me a tight smile and said, "You know, sometimes it's good to forgive." I blinked at her. "Excuse me?" "Your mother came by. She said you were going through something, that you might not be thinking clearly." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Did she mention the part where she left my daughter in foster care?" Mrs. Kaplan's smile faltered. "Well, no, but she said it wasn't as bad as it sounds." Of course she did. After that, the messages got more frantic. "You're ruining this family. Ellie needs her grandparents. Think about how this will affect her long term. We've supported you your whole life. You always overreact." Then came the classic, "You'll understand when you're older." I am older. I'm older now than I ever wanted to be. Then my mom showed up at my work. I saw her through the window of the main office, standing there with a container of banana bread like this was some kind of reunion episode. I didn't go out. I asked the receptionist to tell her I was unavailable. That was it. But that night, Ellie came home with a note in her backpack. No name, no handwriting I recognized. Just a sticky note tucked between her notebooks. "Don't blame your mom. She doesn't mean to keep us away." Ellie handed it to me with wide eyes. "Is this from Grandma?" I didn't lie. "Probably." She didn't say anything after that, just quietly went to her room and shut the door. I sat at the kitchen table for 20 minutes before my hands stopped shaking. Then I changed every pickup password at her school and called the principal. He didn't even hesitate. "We'll update her file. No contact. Not even a wave." The next morning, I woke up to find sugar poured all over my front porch. Not a little. A mountain. There were ants crawling up the steps, swarming the doormat. Taped to the door was a ripped page from one of Ellie's old drawings. Just one word scribbled across it in thick red marker. "Liar." I didn't report it. I just cleaned it up and kept the page. My husband sat me down that night. He'd been quiet for days, letting me take the lead, letting me decide how far to push. But now he looked at me and said, "We need to end this. All the way." I nodded. The next day, we made a plan. We found a new place. Small town, fresh start. We didn't tell anyone where we were going. We packed in silence while Ellie played in the living room, humming to herself. The only thing I left behind was a small white envelope taped to the front door. Inside, a copy of the note they left when they abandoned her. I wrote 3 words underneath it. "Now, you understand." We left at sunrise. Ellie fell asleep in the back seat, her cat in her arms, the picture from the fridge tucked into her backpack. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. Not once. But before we crossed the county line, I pulled over at a gas station, opened my phone, and logged into the police department's online reporting system. I uploaded the note they left, the screenshots, the bank records. I didn't add commentary, just facts. When I hit submit, I felt my hands stop shaking, for the first time in weeks. Fast forward 10 months. They were charged, child endangerment and fraud. No jail time, but fines, a record, and a court order. No contact with Ellie. Ever. We moved. Quiet town, small house, lemon tree in the yard. The baby came early, healthy, loud, perfect. Ellie calls him Captain Yawn. She reads to him every night. My husband works from home now. He makes breakfast, sings lullabies, leaves love notes in my coffee mug. She's okay now. Really okay. Last week, she taped a drawing to the fridge. The 4 of us, standing under a big yellow sun. She titled it, "Our Real Family." And sometimes, when she thinks we're not listening, she looks at her little brother and whispers, "You're safe now. That's all I need." Do you think I did the right thing? Or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments and hit subscribe for more stories.